Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you the 4 steps to reach 2000 in chess within a year. Make sure to watch the entire video so you don't miss any details. So the first step is to learn how to study tactics. You might have heard the saying chess is 99% tactics, and while this might be a slight exaggeration, there's no denying the importance of tactics, especially for someone who's an intermediate and want to become an advanced player and beyond. Now when it comes to studying tactics, it's quite straightforward. Just find a position with a problem and solve it. However, many players make the mistake of rushing their moves after only a brief consideration. If you want to improve, you gotta slow down. You have to calculate the entire sequence, and you need to kind of imagine as if it's in a critical moment in an actual classical game. Additionally, you need to avoid letting emotions dictate your decisions. For example, if you do one screw up and then you just completely lose focus, you have to regain it for the next problem. And also, if you think you've found a solution and you get this boost of adrenaline, you need to calm down and think again, rethink what options does the opponent have, are there any defenses, etc. But where do you find these tactics to solve? Well, personally, I don't think it really matters. You can do on Lichess, Chess Tempo, Chess.com, there's a lot of websites for that. You can obviously do books as well. If there's any I've done that I recommend, it's probably these step books that I did when I was younger. Of course, they are probably for a bit of a younger audience. If you're a beginner, probably step 2 is the best. Step 1 is mostly just teaching how the pieces move, so that's not particularly useful. I've done all the way to step 6 actually. I think I finished this when I was like 1900 or something like that. Now let's move on to something that is, what's the word for it? Overhyped maybe? And that is openings. Openings are very important in a sense, but also sometimes overstudied. And what matters if you want to reach 2000 is that you have to understand the opening principles. Concrete opening variations isn't that important to remember. However, it's still, a good thing to learn which openings to play and then to learn ideas within those openings. I actually have a video for this. You can feel free to check it out just after you watch this, of course. In that video, I talk about how to study openings and what tools to use. One tool I really enjoy using that I'm currently using to prepare for the World Chess Championship in Rapid and Blitz is chessbook.com. But for intermediate and beginners, there's one website that I really find useful, and that is Nocti AI. It's basically a website where you can play against this AI and you can choose the opening. So for example, if you want to become a 1e4 player and you start studying how to play 1e4, e5, the Italian, but then your opponent plays the Sicilian, it's quite annoying when playing online. So instead what you can do is that you can play against this AI and you can say to it like, let's start from the Italian position so I can learn this. And it's also really cool because it gives you an estimated elo. So if you don't have a FIDE elo yet, you can actually estimate it just based on the moves you play, which is crazy, So I highly recommend checking that out. They're also supporting my journey to World Chess Championship in Rapid and Blitz, so huge thanks to them. But let's move on to the next step. Well, if chess is 99% tactics, then what is that 1%? Well, it's positional chess. And how do you improve your positional understanding? Well, I have this exercise, which is extremely useful, that I can recommend to everyone. I've been taught it by multiple coaches and everything, and that is guess the move. I also have a video on this. It was my first video, and you can go check it out. To summarize it, it's basically you choose a top level player and then you look at their winning games and you guess the moves from their side. It's a whole process. If you want to go more into depth, check the video out. You can also look at my Lichess study, which I probably link to the description. But for the final and most obvious step, you need some practical practice to actually improve in chess, and you can do that from just playing blitz games online. You can play rapid, whatever. The absolute best way to improve, in my opinion, is to play over the board tournaments as well. In general, you want to train by playing longer time controls because that gives you more time to calculate and improve your calculation, which is essential. A top coach from a camp I attended suggested playing 150 to 250 competitive classical games a year, which is kind of insane when you look at it, but that's kind of the level you need to reach when you are at my age and you want to improve. However, if you just want to reach 2000, you don't need to play that much, of course, but it's still very useful to try and play as many competitive tournaments as possible, but also play online and practice your openings, because then you'll actually understand the ideas. The key takeaway is seize every opportunity you get to play and your game will improve. If you're interested in learning more, you can check out my Lichess link in the description. I've posted a couple of blogs and studies that will help you improve.